All right, let me see. Let me see. It looks like it's live. It looks like it's live. What is up, everyone? You Silver Degens, you, and just random people that happen to find this terrible live stream that's going to be amazing at the same time. We are here. We are here. Oh no, and now I'm hearing doubles. Okay. Oh no, and now I'm hearing doubles.
You got doubles?
Yep, I'm hearing doubles. All right, I already fucked it up, but it doesn't matter.
Gotta mute it.
The angst.
And you're also showing have a paint. You have a paint open. I don't know
That
if
should
you're supposed
that should be a paint. Yes, there should
Okay,
be a
good,
paint
okay.
open.
Alright, good.
But yes, we have the Zoid Angsty right here. We have Illuminated Apes. And I'm Dumb Money Media, the king of money, the meme sugar daddy. And we are going to be going over conspiracies of sorts. What are we going to go over? Illuminated Ape.
Well, I've just been a big fan of history, and what I've been looking into prior to being a part of STC is sort of a conspiracy that ties into everything about money, why we're here, and beyond. And I just think it would be a fun series to go into, starting from the. Well, I'm going to start with addressing that there is a problem, and let's actually start there. Everyone sort of understands that there's a problem in the economy. There's a problem with our money system. There's problems in politics. There's just problems everywhere. I'm sure if either of you, Angst DMM, thought about what is the problem that I care about most, it's going to fall in line somewhere with probably 6 categories of things, which is government, media, science, religion, education, and the economics. But today, I'm going to kind of dive into this a little bit deeper and show you that in all those things, that there is a clear problem. And then I'm going to try my best to identify what this core problem is from an ideological standpoint, from a historic standpoint, from the very creation of our country and how we formed it as a government, to where we are now. And it's a lot to cover. Don't expect it to be all done today.
What?
But
I
the best place I think to start.
Yeah, just a one-time
Oh,
10-minute
no,
presentation.
Speed run. Speed run. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I can't speed run 250 years of plus history, but
Okay,
what
good.
I will do today is to wet everyone's whistles with trying to identify what the problem is and where it starts. And if people are receptive, we'll keep going until we unravel this whole thing and maybe change the world. So
It's gonna happen.
I
Change
know,
the
I know.
world.
I'm the glorified optimist.
Change the world.
It's
change the world for the 3 people that watch.
It will. It will.
You never
It'll
know.
change their world.
You really never know. All it takes is one catalyst to take all the dominoes and put them all down.
You know, Elon Musk ends up watching this stream, so I don't know.
But
I hope he is.
I bet he
Elon,
is.
retweet us, you fuck.
You know, I
Retweets just about anything.
I
now,
know
so.
that he married his last ex-wife. She's a part of this whole conspiracy too, in a weird way. Yeah, she's a descendant of the brother of Adam Weishaupt. I mean, it's just a weird thing, this world.
Oh,
Get
man.
started.
All right, I'm gonna make the screen bigger so that everyone can see that. So we're a little smaller, but they can still see us in the corner. So take it away. Take it away.
Will do. So generally speaking, and this is an oversimplification, which is generally wrong, but go with it. You know, the political spectrum that we're all sort of used to is a line, one from left to right. And the further right you go, you get into a perceived Nazism. And to the farther left you go, I would say communism. And the problem I have ultimately with this sort of polarization is that there's no point of reference. I think generally, if people look at politics with using this sort of a measurement to where they see themselves, they've already sort of failed, in my opinion, because of that point of reference issue. Now, what I think we should be looking at, government, generally politics, is using a sort of a different graph, which is one with a point of reference. I'm bad with triangles. I tried very hard before, but this is the best I can do. But over here, the majority, well, let's do it like this. It's told government, and if you go all the way to the right, it would be no government. And I think we can break this up in 5 different places. It described the whole spectrum of what politics is, which is the forms of government. The first one being a monarchy, which is ruled by one. The next one going is an oligarchy, which is sort of the rule of the few. Then we go into democracy, is the rule of the majority. Then republic, which our country was basically formed as, virtually, which is the rule of law. And lastly, anarchy, which is no law. The rule of the guy with the biggest gun, or the girl, in that case.
In some cases, some
but
people refer to that
if-
also the role of natural law, but for some. But
For
anyway,
some, but I have to argue that for a societal aspect, you know, anarchy is like a society that has no government. You know, just going from trying to provide a point of reference, which is government control.
yeah.
And maybe you would be right that just because in nature we're all born and have no law and law is not a natural thing, but I would argue that society stems from a survivalistic. It's a more efficient way to survive. So it's sort of one of those things where I agree with some of the tenets of anarchy because they coincide with a republic, which is the philosophy of things. So a republic's philosophy would be individualism, caring about the rights of the individual. And then, when we go into an oligarchy, we sort of get to the point of a collectivism sort of philosophy. But I think individualism is where, most people that would side with anarchy because of some disenfranchised or demoralized with government, that they want to get so far away from it, would side with, equal rights for all is a individualism sort of philosophy that spurred on the republic form of government, which I'll get into, because I want to touch base with, what sort of period in time, which is the Enlightenment time, that the ideas that formed our government currently, which originally was a republic, is as its intent, sort of came about, and why the founding fathers chose that. But in generalization forms, like a monarchy, is impossible. It's a sort of a failed concept. If you think about one person having the capacity to know everything to run a society, it's impossible. A king was more likely to have advisors that advised the king on the best course of action for the rule. So that pretty much invalidates a monarchy in terms of it be an actual thing, because it's always going to fall back to the rule of few with the advisors.
Yeah,
Um,
so
and
autocracies
it's
aren't
sort of to the
really. Oh, sorry, I was going to say autocracies. You're saying autocracies aren't really a thing because there's always a number of people actually running things, and having all the power.
well,
But
that
it
would
has the facade of the single unit power, but there's always a
right. It's
few
sort of the optics.
of the
The
one.
optics is ruled by one, but it's invalidated by how it's actually done, which is ruled by a few, which make it an oligarchy. To that same effect, a democracy, being that it's a ruling of the majority, fall, slowly starts to fall back into it being an oligarchy. Sort of what we've seen in modern times today, where um, it started as a republic, which is society got representatives that provided a voice in a political body to voice the concerns of their constituents. But over time, it devolved into majority rules, um, where the most prominent voices, or those that scream the loudest, cut their way.
Mhm.
And then I'm starting to see everything sort of go towards the oligarchy,
Yeah,
especially
so,
with rigged elections and such. Because if we're not able to control who those representatives are, um, then that's sort of the failure point. It goes
mm,
back into an oligarchy.
you can make an argument that oligarchies are ultimately where all of this ends up, no matter what your efforts may be, republic or otherwise. Only because oftentimes it seems like democracies, republics, and a lot of other forms of government are merely just more stopgaps for the oligarchy to form, and then just more challenges for that same oligarchy to overcome and manipulate. But like, it just makes it a lot more difficult to run it as an oligarchy, but it doesn't make it impossible, regardless of what form it may take. I mean, that's just my thought.
Well, the power really is what decides everything. Everyone's sort of
Hmm.
individual happiness and ability to do whatever they want. I am sort of I fall in line with a type of person that believes that, all people are created equal, and there's really no exceptions to that. It's not the equal of the majority to impose on the minority, because then people are, forgotten in society, and rules don't apply to them. Then we have this sort of classism and other things that sort of divide a country. And then sooner or later, you'll either end up in a total control situation, or a few controlling and pulling the strings, um, or a tyrannical one. Uh, but I think the original intent of the republic is probably still the best one, because I think all people are equal, and ruled by law is better than the ruling of a majority. Even, it seems like today in life, classism plays a big role, just like it
Yeah.
did sort of in the back of the day too. But money always has sort of plays a role in things. And, you know, if it is allowed to corrupt something, I see your point that it's only a
Well,
matter of
it's
time. And in our case, it was a little over 250 years.
well, I mean, I just consider the only differences personally, as it stands, the only differences between, say, an oligarchy and a republic and a democracy is merely the means to manipulation, right? So it would be like, what is it that that group has to learn to and get efficient at manipulating, and once they achieve that, then it becomes like a corrupted version of whatever initially was intended. But I feel like there's always going to be people and groups in positions of power and privilege that are always going to attempt to find a way to sort of manipulate whatever the currency is in that type of society. Like, so if it's a democracy, then obviously all they got to do is feed whatever the constituency wants to get whatever they need. For a republic, it's just a smaller version, like a more microcosm version of that within individual states. And then once that gets corrupted and then connected to the larger federal stuff, then it just becomes a new game. Like it just like to me, it just feels like it always turns into a new sort of game that it might take a few hundred years for that society, if it hadn't experimented with it, to eventually corrupt. So I don't know. That's just me being a pessimist, though. So.
No, I think you're right on something, and that's why I kind of wanted to change pace and kind of describe that. So we're all sort of familiar with the food pyramid, and again, I'm really bad at drawing shapes, but this I think can represent a line of influence. Mostly the influence of the top down the bottom. So the bottom would be sort of a common person. Common people, you and I, and then
the
probably
broke
the next
bitches.
one up would be your well, I would say more your town or your city council or your government local to you. Then the next one up would be your sort of governor or state authority.
Well, you're
And
missing
then
a
from
layer
there would be,
under common, I would say.
uh, what do you mean under a common person? I'm just thinking somebody without any authority that just exists within the society.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of those kinds of people. Like, I mean, I know there's
Yep, they're
common like
just
that, but then there's people that don't even have power within the common like class. They have a negative essentially power. So, but I'm thinking closer
okay.
to
Well,
like
we could have
like
another
the
layer.
homeless,
I
the
don't.
mentally ill, the homeless, the people of that nature. I just felt like I'm a Mr. Nuance guy, so I apologize for that.
That's fine. I mean, you can go as low as the totem pole goes to
The
Animal
corpses.
Kingdom. That gets effects. Well, I mean, birds that just have to deal with our shit every day and have to exist and sustain into a world that they don't control.
What
I
about
mean, we can
ghost
go as low as
horses?
that in
Ghosts.
influence.
Where do ghosts? Where do ghosts?
Yeah, ghosts. No, like specifically like ghosts that are horses.
Like the moment that extraterrestrials show up, where are they going to be?
Oh, the
Just
top,
right at
tippy
the top?
tippy top.
Tippy
That's where they're
top.
gonna land. Right at the tip of that bitch.
And how big is that guy going to be? Oh Lord, sorry. It's called the non sequitur. I do that a lot.
No problem. It's fine. So just to finish sort of almost the very top of the pyramid, you get the federal government and then you get the presidency. I'm just kind of applying this to just the U.S. Anyone that lives outside the U.S. can apply it to their own sort of government setup there. But this one top thing, this element, is, in my opinion, the president. I think he is influenced by other, be it the ones that he has to pay back for his campaign, other influences such as the military-industrial complex that took out Kennedy, or
His own subconsciousness.
something that it could be anything, right? But at any degree, right? This is sort of a government look at society's influence. At any degree, at the very top, you have sort of this core or influence that is affecting the whole thing going down. And you can apply this sort of to everything. So that was just government. We could have education here and sort of like, the home education to home education to, I don't know, your local education to state body to federal body to on and on. And then you can do this to media. Same thing. There's a hierarchical setup. Yeah, it just goes all around. You can do it at the very core of it, though. There's always a bad core.
Yeah, but in between each one of those, there exists many, Sorry, go ahead. I don't know if we have a delay. That's why.
It might be a little delay. I don't know. But at the end of the day, people have many words for this. You can call it the boogeyman. You can call it the deep state. You can call it, the elite. You can call it cultists. There's just so many words, just depending on which honeypot or which information that you were exposed to first, where you think this is the cause of the evil. But what
I
I
call it
want to break
psychopaths and
down for
idiots.
everybody, it's very well could be those things too. But it's until we start looking at the very, very top of everything as the influencers of everything down, we're going to just be solving a problem here. We'll be solving a problem there, here, randomly there, and other aspects of this. But the core problem's always going to exist unless you address it. And that's what I hope to do today. In my opinion, this whole thing starts with how our country, or at least how our government was formed. How much do either of you know of the Enlightenment period?
Well, I know it depends on what you're discussing, but I know a decent chunk of different stuff. It wasn't like my main focus when I was studying, but I definitely know enough
Okay.
to have a discussion, more than likely.
Basically nothing.
No, yeah,
I don't
dumb
fucking.
money knows nothing.
I don't know anything, guys. All right.
Remember, if you have dumb money on, you have to talk to them like you're gonna explain it like it's somebody's 5 years old. So
Yeah, I'd say a little younger, probably. Just like I'm an alien.
All right.
I don't know shit. Okay.
okay.
Hey, no problem. So I just want to start sort of thinking, or at least pushing you to into the mindset of what somebody would be experiencing in the 1600s, 1700s. You know, what is that mentality that spurred on our breaking away from England, breaking away from tyranny, and forming a country that forms a government around individualism? And this whole kind of concept of government stems from the Enlightenment period. I think a big proponent of of that period would have been, Isaac Newton, laws of motion, gravity was found then. You would start having more focus on the sciences. The classification of animals started during the Enlightenment period. We start to have thinkers that prior to Enlightenment were focused on towing a line of the Catholic Church, as that was the dominant force to be reckoned with. It dominated inside of of England's monarchy, of their society, of what the laws were created for, and people were sick and tired of feeling like they had no rights as a human being. It was understood it was sort of this cultural, traditional understanding, spurred on by religion, that people weren't equal under the eyes of God. And that this idea that kings were chosen by God, and and everyone else had to, not be in worship of the tyranny, but respect the office, and
Divine
be
providence.
comfortable with divine providence. That's right. So, it's the understanding, the kind of a control mechanism in order to keep people in check. And what the Enlightenment period did was disrupt the previous control mechanism, which was religion and the lack of a separation of church and state. And it invoked all these ideas that people didn't have to live their life being under the thumb of a dictator, that they were born with unalienable rights, be it from a god or just by nature. And these are the ideas that sort of flourished with John Locke or Thomas Paine, that inspired the revolution and our founding fathers. So I think in a lot of ways, the Enlightenment period is where that, the understanding of all, all wars are caused by religion. How do you guys feel about that, common, topic that's brought up?
That all wars are brought on by religion, like that idea. Are you asking me like
Yeah,
how
that
I feel about
idea.
that? I think
Yeah, just
it's a bit absurd. I think because I think it goes far deeper than that. I think once you unhook the chains of dogma in association to something like religion, like a lot of the individuals of the Enlightenment felt they were doing, they merely find new chains to hook themselves onto. In the name of something far more secular sometimes. But even before that occurred, there was still under the chains of I guess religious beliefs and cosmic divine beliefs and things like that. But even disconnecting from those sort of beliefs, you just manifest new masters until you eventually come up with a way to combat the original master, which is, I think, a lack of metacognition and one's own consciousness in many ways. But whatever.
no, I think you're get on a good point that I do want to touch base on, and we can kind of go into a little bit more because, um, I'm not gonna stand on a soapbox and say that religion is bad, because religion in some aspects is good. It's a good kind of instructional manual if you have no other manual available to you to try to teach you how to live a good life.
It's a
But
thing that works in some
what
circumstances and some contexts.
it works in some circumstances, yes, and in some contexts, yes, and it also can be a tool of control in a whole other sect. And I
Mhm.
think that's sort of what we have to kind of take a look at and kind of pull back and sort of understand of our founding fathers, is because they came to that same conclusion themselves. Thomas Paine had a book he wrote called The Age of Reason, where he talked about the Council of Nicaea and how uh, just to kind of give everyone a quick preamble on that. So the Council of Nicaea was the first council that decided which gospels should go into the Bible and which ones should be thrown out. And this was spurred on by Constantine the Greater, Constantine the First of Constantinople, who was having an issue with his kingdom being polarized from one side, wanting paganism to stay, and the other side, just growing Christian, religion sort of destabilizes nations. So we formed this council in which they chose specific gospels that made Jesus into a divine rather than just a man, so that they could, um, in theory, uh, be the middleman, the Catholic Church, not the religion, just the Catholic Church itself, be the middleman of salvation. And that in itself is a control mechanism
That's
that
why
was
saints are
placed on
useful.
society for thousands of years. Yeah, in a lot of different things, that they've over time evolved the control mechanism of. Now, I'm not going to say that Jesus didn't exist, or these things aren't real, because I don't know. I'm not. That's not something that's important. But what is important is a select few people decided to corrupt this for their own personal gain, and that seems to be the status quo that remained up until the Enlightenment period, where the control was to the church.
Um,
God,
I,
you're going to say something.
yeah, I was. Like I said, I'm probably the biggest pessimist here. So like I think to myself, I would imagine that such corruptions that you're describing would date back to the very creation of the literature itself, that was then later presumed to be corrupted by human influence and institution, be it church or otherwise. There's a possibility that the creation of these very divine texts or prophetic texts were in and of themselves already corrupted to begin with by man themselves. But that's like a whole different can of worms.
Well, we know that no actual being of God made these things, that they are written by
Yeah.
man, and man has flaws. Human nature being as it is, that I can see your point. Just like, but Christianity is not the first religion that ever existed.
Those Sumar
And
and
in
all that.
fact, there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of similarities that paganism brought into Catholicism and Christianity, and I think that was intentional corruption. Um, but was originally there, which in your argument could have been originally something that man had already sort of used for control, and Christianity is just a different sort of control, wrestling away
Yeah,
from
yeah,
paganism to begin with.
yeah. hmm hmm It's all symbols, man.
You know, the I the idea is that all throughout time, people have needed something to believe in, and that could be through science, that can be through religion, or it could be just an idea. Um, in the Enlightenment period, they got sick and tired of the current status quo of ideas. They considered it to, that tradition. There anything that is just become a comfort to people just because it's there in their life forever, doesn't it doesn't have to keep existing if it's wrong. Like the Catholic Church having a lot of control over the monarchy, the lack of a separation of church and state, where religion is imposed upon people from law perspectives. That is a collectivist sort of philosophy. Um, people at the time just didn't think it was right, and they wanted to do an experiment to see if a republic was possible, where people, if I think a republic is only possible if people are involved in the process and understand where it came from and what it attempted to do.
Good luck.
It was definitely not a successful attempt. It was not attempt. It was a good attempt, but it was not a successful attempt. What is the actual perfection of government? Is it even possible? But we know from the Enlightenment era, they were tired of the control mechanism before. Now we have a different control mechanism. At the end of the day, though, I think if we address the actual core of the problem, all of this also gets ironed out. If you were to, point the finger at one specific thing that actually could be the cause of all the problems, what would you say it was?
Oh man, you really want to ask me that? That's a
Dude, that's
whole.
like a 2 hour
Yeah.
answer.
That's like a 2 hour answer, but I won't. I'll just say the word. I'm at a point in my life where I think everything just comes down to a lack of various types of metacognition. That's it. It's very simple.
Consciousness.
Well, just metacognitive.
It's sort of a
abilities.
consciousness thing.
It's a skill issue. It really is. I think it's the ability to metacognate outside of your own understanding, your own tribe, your own local bubbles, your own humanity at times, or your definition of humanity, and all sorts of things like that. I think it is the reason why we have everything from national to racial to gender bigotries or anything like that of that nature. I think it's just all metacognitive. It's the same reason why even within a society that has a melting pot or whatever you want to call it, diversified by nationality and race, like it is in the United States, you still end up in a situation in which people are divided either by class, and even if you can join that, you're eventually going to have a lack of metacognition toward the cognitively different, being like the autistic or the schizo spectrum, or other people with different kinds of cognitive, abilities. And then there's going to be just ultimately more and more barriers to entry. But that's my pessimism again.
But in a sense, though, what I'm hearing is more individual rights.
More individual rights, but
laws should be catered.
Metacognitive, with more metacognitive skill in the production of those laws. Because individual rights, if, like, for example, you have a vast majority of a certain type of people within a nation or group, their cultural their religious, their philosophical perspectives are going to be what defines or creates those individual rights and the way they're written and what's defined as being in the right and what is not. And so then you end up like in weird situations in which you're distributing individual rights that might not even be what all groups necessarily would want to possess. They might get rights that they don't want, or they think are actually a hindrance to their quality of life. It's kind of confusing. Whatever.
Well, give us an example of a right that somebody wouldn't necessarily want to be given.
Well, I mean, like if you want to get into that whole mess, I mean, something like abortion is a mess, right? So a
Okay.
question like that becomes like an entire fucking mess, right? Depending on the type of culture
Well-
and background of the individuals you're bringing that right to, you might actually end up causing like far more destruction to that society than any benefit. Like if you like say forced
Let me-
a right into the wrong place or community.
Let me ask you a question just for my clarification. If the word abortion didn't exist, how would you describe it?
The elimination of a fetus inside of a
So you would,
person? Huh? Well, the elimination of a fetus.
so you would, okay, so you would say, I'm just trying to understand, would a fetus be separate from a human being?
Oh, that's a whole fucking can of worms, right? Like, I don't have the ability nor the power
Right.
to define that. I don't have the answer to that question.
Then as a society, I don't have the answer to that either. So as a society, I think we need to answer that question before we can actually make a judgment call on that problem.
Yeah, I forgot the name of
Or
that problem.
polarization concern.
I forgot the name of that problem, but it's I forgot the dilemma. There's a name for the dilemma. It's when or a term for it. It's when there is no like line that one can actually draw that would make any sense, because regardless of where you draw it, it would be arbitrary and like just kind of almost random, right? Like when it is, you would have to make a bunch of arbitrary choices in order to delineate where a line would be, and because it's some like knowable thing as of right now, there's no way to really delineate any major line, like any hard line on such a matter. Like, is it, especially when you're talking about like viability and how one defines a fetus compared to a human, and how many months, and then technology is involvement, right? If it's viability, then if we have like very, very good technology, does viability increase? And then now what was not a human when we didn't have that technology is now human. It's a fucking mess.
Now,
Well,
for
there's
everyone,
also the growing concern of gene therapy changing humanity and the definition of what is a human if DNA is
Yeah.
being altered.
Yeah, that's why I don't worry. But that's why I get so just like black pilled about it. I just don't even worry about it. I'm like, I don't even care. Like, okay, just manipulate the humans. I'm not really that attached to the whole being a human thing. So, what were you gonna say, Dominic?
Oh no, so like if it's always polarizing like this, because obviously this would be a polarizing topic and stuff, but in order to solve it, would that mean that everyone collectively would have to agree on the definition of what a fetus was in order for
It would
a
have to be like a
judgment to be made?
worldwide-
But
But
would
be
it-
like a world? But even then, even if you had like a worldwide consensus, that consensus isn't taking into account a variety of factors that are unknowable, right?
Well, yeah,
Like,
even
where
that,
technology
even
is
that.
going to lead, where this are we eventually going to not be even be born inside of a human body? We're
Oh,
gonna
that's
be born
coming.
inside of like these kind of like cylinders or
pods.
tubes.
Yeah.
In which case, if it's in a pod, what are the rule changes there? Like as far as like viability goes and everything else.
No,
If
but
all human fetuses are viable due to gene therapy, does that mean that all human fetuses are now human because they're all viable because we have the technology to make every single one of them viable?
well,
Like, it's a fucking mess.
but what I'm
So-
thinking is just the idea of like, so every single person on the planet, basically, would they all have to agree on this in order for the rules to be set, because if every single person doesn't agree on it, then there's going to be a polarizing
Yeah. There's always going to
aspect to it.
be. There's no way to solve this. That's the issue. I don't even, and unfortunately, I think this will tie in what I think maybe you'll get into there, Illuminated Ape. I think that's why a lot of the people, whether you call them Illuminati or whatever the fuck you want to call it, globalists, I don't know, whatever people like want to name it. I think that's ultimately what they think will be the solution. Is essentially a collectivizing of every individual on the planet Earth in order to find a kind of like single culture, single government, eventual single, essentially like race, because of obviously everyone just mixing up for the next couple hundred years, and everything else, and then maybe a lot of people that do believe in that think that it'll solve this very problem, this very very complex but very simply said problem that I'm sorry, so many media just brought up. Fucking always do that to you.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care.
I know you don't care.
I believe in consent. I believe in consent, and
Yeah.
what you've described, if that is the decision of, I'll just call them the ruling class.
elite.
It seems like we have
Yes.
not the elite, the ones that are pulling the strings. It seems that they want to just keep us divided so that we don't come up with that answer, so that they can answer that question for us.
Well, they argue that that's what they're
Now,
gaining, right? If you talk about like what is it called? What do you guys always mention? The economic something forum.
The
I
World
always forget
Economic
it,
Forum. The World.
Yeah. The World Economic Forum and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like they claim that that's what they want, right? They claim they want like to make everything one, like a unification process that transcends nations and transcends like cultures, individualized cultures. Like, I mean, I think a lot of these people their intention, even if it's like a faulty one, is to think that by gathering all of this together, you can then create a rule of law that is functional to all on Earth. But I don't know. It's still going to be an oligarchy, so it doesn't matter.
I'm going to tell you that is a perfect world sort of idea that I haven't found evidence of.
No, it's garbage, trash cans.
What I have found evident, what I think is going on here is similar to what you're saying. Like, yes, the World Economic Forum is partnered with the UN for what's called Agenda 2030. They have set out, goals that they want to basically reform society, and they're the ones behind what they're calling the Great Reset of that. But it's a part of a bigger problem of a philosophical difference. One that is, should the few of humanity be the ones that decide the course of humanity? The ones that technically, by your own admission, you think are psychopaths? Or should humanity itself be the decision makers of their own path forward? And I think, until we have that latter sort of situation, then we're just being dragged along like slaves. And I don't respect that. Now, if this was a conversation that we were having openly, it would be different.
I think that a lot of the things like, were you asking? Wait, what happened?
I was just going to say one more thing on that
topic.
I thought.
Okay, my bad. I thought you said you were done. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, one more thing. It just pops into my mind. There was a interview that I saw a video interview with Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum talking to, I think, Sergey of Google, which he was, they're having this exchange back and forth of what brain chipping could one day do for humanity. And Klaus was very excited to share that one day he might be able to understand on an emotional level how somebody is feeling just by accessing their brain chip. But
well, that's a premium feature you're going to pay for.
Chip, there's a slippery slope to that where, the Borg from Star Trek is a good example where there could just be one hive queen, and then we're all sort of enslaved on a, you know, on a microscopic level with whatever technology that they embed in us, that we lose all ability to have an individualism.
I mean, like, maybe you can convince me of otherwise. And I feel like the only, I know this is kind of a half joke, but I feel like the only solution or way to combat all of this that you're probably going to get into, the greatest protest that humanity could ever do against such things is essentially what's it called? Voluntary antinatals. Like I don't honestly, like I said, I don't have the balls for it because I have kids. But there's like I
This
mean,
is Attack on Titan situation here.
no,
Like,
I know, but I'm just saying, like, what would they do? Like, I mean, they would have to show all their cards, because if everyone collectively decided to stop having children, they would have no choice but to like start like forcing, like showing their actual true face, because that would ultimately lead to any kind of ends that they're thinking they would, any kind of ultimate end or dystopia that a lot of people concern themselves with. But like that's like I would say that's like probably the least favorable of solutions.
no, the Attack on Titan was correct. You're speaking the truth right now.
Everyone just chemically castrates themselves
Yes,
voluntarily.
yes.
And it's never gonna happen, but it's just funny because that would be the ultimate fuck you to all of this.
Well, what if the situation were to occur? I'm sure this is going to sound familiar for some people, but I'm going to skirt around the words that make it familiar. But a situation where people willingly were to submit to an authority telling them to do something, in which ultimately that something leads to their own demise, or leads to the demise of their ability to reproduce. And then that creates a catalyst situation for a Brave New World situation that I think all of us sort of know more familiar than Attack on Titan. Once the government already, special
not
interests
the
have
internet.
that power,
The internet
it's not
knows
good.
way more about Attack on Titan than Brave New World. I'll tell you that right now. More people are familiar with Attack on Titan than Brave New World nowadays.
I'm with Aaron Yeager. I know what's happening.
I'm not with Aaron Yeager, but no, it's just I don't know. It was just me being silly, because like I just often think like one of the things that whoever these groups may be, whoever whatever their motivations may be, one of the things they definitely don't want us to do is to stop reproducing. They want us to keep reproducing. We are the currency.
Well, yeah. I mean, who's gonna be in that Amazon warehouse? Gotta have someone delivering shit.
Well,
they need us
the
until they don't need us.
Yeah,
that's right.
There's going to be a need for the people to fix the robots.
No, that's what I'm saying. You'd fuck up their plans if everyone went anti-natalist. Fuck up all their plans because they're not there yet. So it's going to take them a few more generations before they'll ultimately want to get rid of normal humans anyway. So.
I'm doing my part.
Call our numbers.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. They do want to do that.
You know, I know.
Until eventually it's zero.
That's been
until eventually it's like
100,000.
Oh, what was that called again? Those.
Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah, they got rid of those.
Yeah, can't have those there. Can't have those.
Those are gone now.
Leaving these stupid rocks here. Get rid of that shit.
They got pissed because they were like, "Oh shit, whose fucking idiot idea was it to put our plans on a bunch of fucking stones in the middle of the U.S.?" And then
I can give you the answer to that if you're curious.
The Rosicrucians?
Look into who actually paid for the person who paid for those. It was Ted Turner.
Oh no, paid for it, but it was a Rosicrucian thing, wasn't it? I thought it was a Rosicrucian thing. Like I thought it was like the group that actually.
All I know is that it was Ted.
Oh, okay.
Well, the Rosicrucians is just a secret society, but it's definitely Ted Turner's money.
No, that might be Ted Turner money, but I'm pretty, if I remember correctly, it's a Rosicrucian like effort. It was an effort on the part of groups in the United States that were Rosicrucian, and but but you're getting that history, so I would say because as you well know, the Rosicrucians stem from other stuff, so that you're probably going to get into regarding the culmination of our nation and all that kind of stuff. So.
Well, yes, the Rosicrucians play a part. All the secret societies play a part, and it definitely gets into what I have on my screen here. I just segue into this real quick. So I want everybody to know this man, John Robison, because he is the. If you were trying to source the conspiracy of the Illuminati to its source, to the original OG, it is this guy. And I want to just brief you guys on who he is, and kind of give you an understanding of his credibility and what he risked even to come out with a book that he did. So, John Robison, just to go through his Wikipedia, and I know people's opinions of Wikipedia, but this is so old that it's all kind of just here. It's not really much censored, or can be censored, because this is a man that was, at the height of his career, he was honored at the Royal Society of Science in Edinburgh. He was the first secretary of that prestigious organization that still exists today as an authority on scientific natures. He was a professor of natural philosophy, the precursor of natural sciences, a member of Philosophical Society, under a royal warrant, appointed, like I was saying, First General Society of Edinburgh. He also, ironically, which this makes me laugh inside, he invented the siren, the thing that makes the loud noises.
Yeah.
So, towards the end of his career, this guy, a lifetime Mason, was into those secret societies. It wasn't really a secret society back then, the Freemasons. Not as we consider it today. It was like a social club, prominent
Like a local
thinkers
golf
would,
club.
go to coffee shops. Sort of like a local golf club for like smart people, or they went to somewhere for coffee or brandy. They pompously talked
Or
about theories
orgies.
and things going on, or that or whatnot. But this is a guy that, was involved in all of this. He was in the higher echelons of society, and he was a well-respected mind on the sciences that he involved himself in. But towards the end of his life, he became disenfranchised by the fact that Freemasonry, to his understanding, had started to become corrupted within the order, where different ceremonies and understandings started to change and morph. And what he did was he came out with this book that basically laid out the Bavarian Illuminati, that talked about Adam Weishaupt's Illuminati. That what he did was he infected Freemasonry, like he infected other secret societies. He infected the academics. He infected the literature societies, the purveyors of people that were controlling the culture. He infected those groups. Now, people like to say that the Freemasons are behind everything or XYZ, but going back to that chart that I was making on MS Paint of like the pyramid and the rotten core at the top, that sort of mentality or motivation or plan sort of has been used throughout time, or it's actually been the Illuminati that is still operated throughout time.
So
I think that. Go ahead, I'm gonna speak.
Oh no, I wasn't sure. So there is a delay because I feel like I'm always interrupting you, but there's a delay. Like it's like a 2-second delay at least compared to like when I say, because I say something and then like I see you react like 2 seconds later, and I feel bad because like so because like I'm trying to find like like a wedge, and then when I start my wedge, like I think like you start talking, and then you stop talking in the middle of your sentence, and it's kind of shitty. I'm sorry about that. So no, what I was gonna say is pertaining to Adam AW and
AW,
AW, good
Yeah.
yeah.
old AW. I also started thinking about like because you said because all of AW's ideas came from other types of groups before that. If you want to go into like Jesuits, and then before that, Jesuits got their idea from like other groups, and then once the Illuminati and AW stuff started, it started spreading out into all sorts of different kind of sections. But like, if we went with what was his name again? The writer of this book? Yeah, I can't remember. John. What is it?
Robinson.
Robinson. If we went with
Robinson.
John, right? John Robison. Okay. If we
Yeah.
went with his idea, that would ultimately mean that, because I know Freemasons before this corruption or this infiltration by the AW's Illuminati was considered to be kind of more innocuous, right? Like it was just kind of like it was just like you said, it was just kind of like rich, smart guys like to get together and talk about. And that's why they were pretty. I think as long as you believe in some kind of higher power, they were cool with you, right? And then so they would introduce you or whatever. And then, but what's funny is that would mean that a lot of the secret societies that are often mentioned throughout various points in history after the establishment of the of AW's Illuminati are just merely extensions of that, like Skull and Bones and everything else. I mean, would that be a fair assertion if we
That's
went
what
with?
I believe is true.
Mhm.
That's what I believe is true. Like in the sense that how these different aspects of our government or society have the rotten core,
Mhm.
so now does all these secret societies. Either these were started by the intention directly of the rotten core, or they were infected by the the disease of the core over time. Which either or I think is going to be the case in this instance. Skull and Bones that came out of the fact later, so it's more than likely that it was probably started by Illuminati, but it's really impossible to know
Yeah,
because we're
because I
dealing
know.
with secret societies. There's
Yeah,
secrets.
and then people date it back all the way to the Sumar and all that kind of shit, right? So, like some of these ideas,
Well,
and
they
we can
date.
talk about. Yeah, sorry.
Well, I was going to address that and say that Freemasonry as itself comes, they like to propose that their secret mysteries are all coming out of the ancient Egyptian mysteries. And if you
Mhm.
want to get into more conspiratorial stuff there, we can get into Atlantis and,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Great Flood
Oh,
and
we
how
gotta
many
get into all
times
that.
Well,
society has been reset. We
I
know,
know, I know that's why
God,
Adam and the rest liked like using like names for themselves, like fucking Osiris
Oh
and all
yeah.
sorts of shit like that, right? Like they always like naming each other, like they give each other little lame ass code names associated with like Egyptian gods and other esoteric interests and some Gnostic shit and all that. Yeah, it's good times. Funny.
yeah. It's a, like a, it's a, have you seen the movie They Live? And yeah, a guy puts the sunglasses on and the
Yeah.
outside world is translated to what it actually is. It's just the reverse. There's a secret language that is taught, and how to understand it is just, it's a puzzle that, gets unfolded over time. But what Robinson talked about with the Freemasonry specifically is that, he noticed the customs and shared understandings of each what the degrees meant to be corrupted and over time or changed. And I think that he was on the money when he suggested that it was at the area of Illuminati. And I think it's important just to go into um, how this book was received by his peers. And the main thing at the time of the main pushback he got was his quote unquote connection to the Catholic Church, or that he was just a religious man. And then slowly he faded into obscurity. But people at the time, like, for instance, our founding father, George Washington, the first OG
GW.
president, he received he received copies of this book, and here's a letter, and the scope of the context of that letter said, that although he didn't get a chance to read this, he knows that the Illuminati exists. He is aware right here of the Illuminati's objective to overturn blankety blank all governments and religions.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
there. They knew that this was a thing.
yeah.
And if
It's
we
not
had a look up,
it's not a big mystery that they existed. Like, part of I know some of what has been said about AW's, treatment is that I think they like what they go on. They like once they started, they went on for like a good decade or so, and then like they got found out, like, and then it like all the news started spreading about it, for, like all kinds of people and stuff. But then there's people that argue that he did it on purpose because it was like that whole being hidden out in the open kind of
plausible
mentality.
deniability.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, if it looks like we got
Yeah,
discovered and we got taken down, then everyone will stop questioning whether we still continue existing or not, or will be less likely to believe that we still are working, and they might not even be working under that name. That's really funny. Like if he went full AW, he would have used like a term like the Illuminati would have just been like essentially like a facade name for whatever it is that it's actually called.
yeah.
Some fucking Metal Gear Solid, the Lale Lule Lo type of shit, but
The
yeah,
true order. The true
the
order.
true order. I want to say it's the Lale Lule Lo, if you know your Metal Gear lore, but the Patriots.
The
Like Joe, now they play
Patriots.
the solid state.
Hey,
But there is
just to
actually a
give you a
quote
heads
in the
up real
book that
quick.
I'll just.
We're at an hour, so maybe one more big point, and then we'll go
It's
to
good because
go to that.
Oh yeah, to your point, I'll
that's
shut
good.
the fuck up.
That's good. I'm on track, DMM. We're good. So there's a quote that I didn't pull up, but if you look into John Robinson's Proof of Conspiracy, it was published in 1793. You can read this for yourself. It's in the book. This describes, I think, succinctly what the Illuminati did to Freemasonry and beyond. And I think it still applies today. I quote, "The great strength of our order lies in its concealment. Let it never appear in any place in its own name, but always covered by another name and another
Illuminati.
occupation. None is better than the three. Yep, none is better than the 3 degrees of Freemasonry. The public is accustomed to it, expects little of it, and therefore takes little notice of it. Next to this, the form of a learned or literary society is best suited to our purpose, and had Freemasonry not existed, this cover would have been employed. And it may be much more than a cover. It may be a powerful engine in our hands. By establishing reading societies and subscription libraries, and taking these under our direction and supplying them through our labors, we may turn the public mind which way we will." This is a quote purported to be from Adam Weishaupt himself, the founder of the Illuminati, by John Robison. But
The AW is such a fucking boring, pompous, pretentious motherfucker with these fucking writings. It drives me so crazy. Like, like I hear something like that, and all I hear is blah blah blah, philosopher king excuse, blah blah blah. Like that. That's all I fucking hear.
But how many Philosopher's
It's
Stones does he have?
long-winded nonsense about how he, he found the fucking the panacea, the ambrosia of societal you know, the whatever,
Influence.
yeah, or not influence, but the medicine that humanity needs to quell it of its condition. Like, it's just, I fucking hate it, man. I can write stupid shit like that all day and sound like a fucking smart guy. It's dumb, dude. He's a dumb motherfucker. I mean, clever, not
It
dumb.
never
As in,
got
like,
I'm
go ahead, sorry.
an asshat.
Yeah, an asshat.
He's definitely an asshat.
Complete asshat. That's why I always say psychopaths and idiots. Like, it's just grandiose, narcissistic psychopaths controlling a bunch of human beings that are just desperate and clinging to whatever power and resources that they are given, like, in whatever way possible, and then and they'll tie themselves to whatever grandiose delusion some fucking psychopath feeds them in order to achieve those goals. Because even in the case of groups like the Illuminati, or if you want to talk about even like certain like cults, like Jesuit cults and all that within the church, and all these other groups, and or the Illuminaries, I think Illuminated or whatever the fuck they were in Spain, like a lot of these groups, all they're looking to, and it's kind of hilarious, all they're looking to do is get guilt-free orgies and drugs and murder. Like, that's all it ultimately comes down to. Because, like, what is it? It is the purifying of their souls so that they can do whatever the fuck they want, and it's pure itself. Like, it's gross, man. I hate these people. I hate these people so much, man.
It's so pure, though. Imagine how pure you'll be.
Like,
So I think what you're touching on there is a little bit of cult of Dionysus sort of mentality. You know, thinking about this pre-Christianity, like, where, you know, even in pagan times they had cults, and the elite gravitated themselves over to the Orphism, which is sort of the mystery religions that exist, and cult of Dionysus is accounted amongst those. And what it tried to push is that vices, debauchery, living in sin, were the ultimate, how should I put this, sort of not sacrifice, but like in that sort of regard, like a worship, you give
like, it is
tribute.
enlightenment.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good
like,
word.
Hedonism leads to
Yeah,
enlightenment.
it's sort of something like that in that regards, because what they feel is like gods don't have genitalia, they can't fuck, they can't drink alcohol, they can't party and live the ethereal or the non-ethereal life like mortals and the flesh can.
They're
So it's in
omnipotent, they should be
their
able to.
well, you know, there's a question for another day, but you know, so the elite sort of gravitated over to this religion because it allowed them to basically imbibe their psychopathic behaviors.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
have control over people, have sex slaves, or have parties that were, you know, just crazy. Now, outside of the common person's wants, these, and they thought of themselves as, you know, paying tribute to a god doing this, god of Dionysus, god of wine and parties.
Yeah, I
Nope.
mean, what
Of course, the Greeks would come up with a god for that.
what better way is there to for someone with with some kind of hedonistic psychopathic tendencies that has money and power to take advantage of the average person with less money and power than themselves, and with less intelligence, or than to create something more grandiose in front of those people that would allow them to transcend the what would be considered by many to be natural laws, right? Like things that are things that would be like to the average human almost ingrained, things that feel like a big no, like feel wrong, feel sick, like whether it's incest or certain sorts of things that, or just wanton murder and things like that. Like it's just funny. Like it's like the people with those in those positions of money and power that are psychopaths, they want more than what society will allow them, and so they have to create a metaphysical excuse that extends beyond such inclinations to not participate in things like that in order to achieve society or achieve an environment in which such things would be allowed to them. It's fucking horrible, man. Hate it.
It is horrible. If you look at it like that, there's another way of looking at this, which I don't particularly like to, but I see the merit in it, which is that of a catalyst for consciousness evolution. And I'll equate this sort of to the typical story of the garden in which Adam, no, or Eve picks the apple, eats it, gives it to Adam, he eats it, they become consciously aware of their nakedness and are ashamed, so they hide from God, and then God can't find them, and that's a whole other story in itself. But if the apple represents knowledge, and they ate knowledge that gave them consciousness, it wouldn't have been without the sort of the catalyst of that, and further catalysts of bad things happening to people that they are pushed to consider different paths of thinking. And I think that elevates one's consciousness. Why we're having this conversation right now versus 100 years ago is because we've had elevated consciousness. We feel and see injustices in the world, and there's definitely something wrong, and we just innately feel this, and I think that's a part of our conscious evolution.
Yeah.
Pausing to let anyone speak.
No, yeah. I didn't know if Dumb Money wanted to. Did you want to end it, or what is it you were looking to do, Dumb Money?
Oh, well, we are getting close to it, so maybe this was the last topic, I guess. So if you guys want to elaborate on it for another 10, 15 minutes, whatever.
Okay, got it.
So,
okay, cool.
So I would just say at the end of the day, we're all progressing. Either we're going to progress towards the minority rule, or we're going to progress towards the equal to all, or no government sort of consciousness. And I'm rooting for the side of individualism, of taking our consciousness further away from control, and trying to figure out what is the best way forward, because the people that are currently deciding this are asshats.
Yes, they are. And for those out there that know anything about Warhammer 40k, essentially they want to be Eldari. And you either want to be Eldari or you're going to end up Drukhari. So, yeah, for those that know about that, they'll know what I'm talking about. It's just ultimately what it's all seemingly turning into anyway, so...
What are the possibilities of?
It's all the polarization.
What are the possibilities? What if you're gonna put a stat number on it, IA? What are the stat numbers of your scenario playing out? Are the chances higher now?
Best case scenario of what?
Of your scenario playing out, where we could actually
better.
Where things actually stop eating dicks constantly. Like, if things actually start, like, going on the up and coming up Millhouse. Everything coming up Millhouse. Like, yes. What are the statistical stats you think?
It ultimately depends on... Okay, so the current issue that faces everything that exists is apathy. And people's lack of getting involved in the process. If we want to have an individualistic government that is for all, equal across the board, or at least something that isn't this, then we have to come together and work towards those goals. Like, I am here right now for silver. Why? Because I see that being the next catalyst, money being the next catalyst that will define humanity. This is probably the push they need to either seal the deal for their agenda, or we can actually get a leg up.
And I'm the idiot that is pushing for an increase in metacognition, because I think that is one of the major problems, along with what IA just said. In order to, I think the major difference between me and IA is IA probably believes it's possible. I believe I am just an idiot that is pushing against an impossible wave of suffering. So I think that's where me and them differentiate, but we definitely work towards similar goals in some respects. So that's good.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's better than the alternative to sitting back and doing nothing. At least we can try, and then if we do fail, then we can at least sit back and say we did everything we could to avert this danger. But I just read a comment on the YouTube, and I'm just going to read it out from Suicide Apple. He says, apathies can be solved with definiteness of purpose, definitiveness of purpose. All we need is just some form of plan that guides us towards that goal. I can tell you right now, Suicide Apple, I have a plan. It's a loose plan. We're working really hard, SEC, behind the scenes to pull it off. But in a nutshell, what's going to need to happen is we need silver as money. It can't be for pure silver because there's not enough of it for everybody. So we're going to have to work on some sort of silver alloy, sterling silver product, and figure out the math of what actually can equal $1, so that in future times, and what is actually that dollar, and an economic understanding of how money is going to work. And then we're going to transition into coming together at the right time when silver actually has the proper value that it deserves, and coming together with that buying power, that wealth as a community and beyond humanity, in order to oppose those that want to come in and buy up everything, so that there should be no private ownership anymore, and we're on a central bank digital currency scheme where we have no control about where we even spend our money, or we can't even save it because it has an expiration date, like a coupon. We're in those dire times where it's such a slippery slope at this point due to technology and advancement of information that we have to do something now. And I am here for, in DMM, we're all here because we're always trying to play a part in basically doing something as the common person, that lowest level of the pyramid, about that really top level, fix this problem. I call it saving the world, but it's some people hear it and you sound crazy. Replace that as just trying to mitigate disaster.
I could say I could probably say that as well. Mitigate disaster, or at least mitigate as that knife is going in, like it's going in a little slower before it punctures the heart. But
I would say that
if people come together as a community, we could have a challenging effect on the world. But we need everyone on board.
Yeah, and we need people to drop that actual fake currency on us to keep this
please
trash
give them
boat.
all the fake currency possible, and give all of us fake currency so that we can actually keep this boat floating. Because my horse in this race is a consciousness related one and pertaining to cognition, which is going from the acceptance and understanding that things like autism as well as schizospectrum are ultimately a useful, pragmatic evolution that we can actually implement and use in conjunction with some of the ideas that other people present. And I think anything from the economy to spiritual matters, to culture, to all sorts of shit can probably be solved more easily were cognition of outlier types to be included in the conversation in a more serious way. I think once that occurs,
we represent that outlier.
Yep, I'm a schizospectrum. You're an autist, so we're good.
What am I again? I can't remember.
I wouldn't be here without my autism.
He's a fucking idiot.
Well, and the way I'm gonna solve all this is with silver and many memes and many waifus, and
Titties
it will,
and porn.
yeah, and it will work because
you know what you are, Dumb Money. You want to know what you are, and I think IA would agree with me. All
what?
right? I'm gonna tell you what you are.
Ah, tell me.
You are the bread and circuses that is required to do anything.
Yes,
You are the
indeed.
bread and circuses. That's what you are. But you're transparent bread and circuses. That's the difference. You're not. It's not coercion. It's not subversive bread and circuses. It's not cynical use of bread and circuses. It's the acceptance that human beings need their bread. They need their circuses, and you're there to provide that. While people like me and IA and others are trying to provide us things with substance.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that.
There you go.
I agree with that, and I'll add one more thing. I also like the fact that you're a veteran. This way, the Force can't play that card on us. We also support veterans.
That's right. That's right. And
But we also
I've
support dickheads.
oh yes, that is very especially officer dickheads. those for sure.
Officer dickhead.
But yeah, I mean, we all have our different backgrounds and skill sets. Mine just happens to be very annoying and shilling extreme.
And burping, annoying,
farting, very loud,
farting.
very lewd, very
You're just
degenerate.
representative of the average common citizen. That's
I am the representation of the common citizen.
the common citizen. Once he awakens to the truth that all this is bullshit. That's
Once you ascend to my level, common citizen, you will also have a shower curtain for a cape and an Amazon crown for $5. You will be the same as I.
Yep.
It works for you. I have my own motif and character. I think I'm too serious. I think you're not serious enough, and Angst bounces us out.
Yeah, I try to be serious. I think I'm very serious. It's just that I'm so serious that I gave up to where I seem like I'm not. I think I'm serious, but lacking hope. I think that's part of what's happening with me.
Well-
I'm here to give the hope, and I share the belief that we're in a consciousness evolutionary battle. Either we want to be controlled, or we can step up and be individuals in our society so that it can be, have proper wisdom behind where it's going. I think
And
that's
I
what we
believe that
need
we
to
already
instill
lost,
as
but I
STC.
want
We
to
gotta.
fight anyway.
I'm not gonna say it. Those asshats are not gonna get
No,
satisfaction
but I'm
from
just
me.
saying that. Like that's why I'm the one that believes that because that's the thing. I think you're fueled by hope. I think I'm fueled by spite. I think that's one of the major
Wow.
differences. Spite fuels me. I think hope fuels you.
I agree. I really like spite too. So I'm on board with that.
I'm a shitheel, man.
I just don't. I want to avoid a situation where people get their wish that it's a Mad Max situation and it's just guns blazing, anarchy,
I don't want
and
that.
societal
Pew, pew.
I don't
breakdown.
want that
I think-
either. I'm not an accelerationist.
No purge?
I really think
purge.
that we can solve this problem non-violently through silver if we come together with buying it and spending it when the time comes to, I don't know, maybe even buy our own towns and take care of our own cities and create new towns.
And
I mean, these
and I
gotta
and I,
start
cons-
around you.
and I consider myself naive I consider myself naive and an idiot for believing similar to what you believe in that sense.
You all have free reign in the in the sex cult that I will make in the end times.
I'm
so
okay
don't
with
worry
sex
about.
cults. I'm okay with hedonism as long as it's consensual and safe and happy. If you want to have a cult of Dionysus that that doesn't involve rape and murder, then cool. Go ahead and modernize that cult. I don't give a shit if people want to just jizz on everything and fucking fuck femboys, and I don't care. You want to be a furry, be a furry. I don't give a shit, man. Like, be a degenerate. Just stop hurting people. Holy shit. God
I
damn.
think
I'm the same way to a point because libertarianism just doesn't work in the extremes. But if you find the nuanced every sort of thing in liberalism, I think, or libertarianism, there's a good answer there.
Cool.
And I think growing the way I grew up, like so ridiculously poor, like insanely poor, then going through the military and doing normal shit like that, seeing all the chaos there, and learning how to cope with life, and growing up that way, and then in the military where it's so like strict and everything is just piled against you regardless, and nothing matters with what you're actually doing, and it's money waste. I think one of my main drivers is righting injustices and helping people that are around me and the people that I know, and I think that's what fuels a lot of what I do. As gross as that sounds, because I hate fucking saying that.
Yeah. Generally, I just want to appeal to people's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Sorry
you're
about
good.
the
You're good.
delay.
You're good. I was just talking to myself. Go ahead.
So I was just going to say, generally, we just want to appeal to common sense at this point. We can keep arguing either left or right of a political spectrum that has no proof of reference, but we could turn the conversation on or the narrative's head by actually addressing, do we want total government or do we want no government? What kind of government do we want? Because everything else is going to divide us, and at the end of the day, we all know the homage of divide and conquer. It's a Machiavellian tactic. It's a control tactic. If we can't unite against what's going on, then maybe you guys, the doomers, are right, and we're doomed as a society. I still think and hope I am wrong or I'm right, and that everyone else, that the doomer is wrong, that humanity at the end of the day will come and triumph, be the force of good over evil.
I hope you're right as well, but I don't think you were.
I'm gonna sit back and watch either way.
I have to fight with that mentality.
I think what we are doing is
going
gonna
to
work.
Good show.
Yes, it's gonna be a good show, and I will be at the top playing that flame guitar.
We'll piss the right people off. We'll do as much to the narrative as possible, and we'll save as many people from despotism as possible.
So, but if
we'll
all
do
else
everything
fails,
we can. Just help us.
If all else fails, can you get on the self what's it called, self infertilization antinatalism train? If all else fails,
Aaron,
just to spite them, just to spite them, just to ruin their plans because they're fucked anyway. Oh man! All right, I'm kidding. Or am I?
Or am I? Yes. So many fun billionaire dinners.
Money. I don't know if you saw what I sent you. I sent you something.
Oh, let me see.
I sent you can go ahead and end it with that if you want.
Oh. Oh, how long is this? Wait.
It's not long.
Oh, I'll save this one for the. I'll save this one for our other one.
What? Fine.
Well, I don't know. All right, fuck
50
it.
seconds. End it
Too
with that
long.
shit.
Too long.
Say your shit and then play it, you fucker.
Oh my god.
Say your
Oh
ending
my
and then
god.
play it.
Let me pause this real quick.
You fucking baby. Don't you have it set up? Just screen share it and then show it like the same way that.
But then you'll
He
find
needs
out
he
all
needs a
my
Steam Deck or
secrets.
whatever.
You'll see all my
Yeah.
secrets that I have.
You want
You'll
me
see
to
my.
screen share it? Do you want me to screen share it?
Oh yeah, actually, because then we'll all be able to hear it. For some
Mhm.
reason, it doesn't work when I screen share it. Like, and you guys
Your
can't hear it.
fucking your garbage ass. Hold on.
Fucking trash ass fucking settings I have.
Hold on. I'll screen share it myself. There you go.
Well, I closed mine, so viewers should get the.
Yeah, all
Let me
right.
see.
There
All right,
we go.
there
Is
we
it
go.
showing?
It is showing.
If you can't describe your job in 3 words, you have a bull.
Damn.
Meditate in contemplation of the manifold mysteries of the Omnissiah.
Categorize the etymological framework of Western Hive City dialects.
Damn. Oh. Oh.
There. That's all.
Oh, that is really good. That is really good. I mean, silver, shiny, or what is
Silver,
it?
good, shiny.
Silver,
I
hiney.
I collect silver. Good job.
Yeah, yeah, shiny, hiney, and weed. Okay, that's that's my 3 right there.
Shiny, hiney weed.
Weed's
All
good. It confines to natural law. It's a natural thing.
There you go.
It is. It is. So, I think we got plenty of stuff in. Do you want to give a? Do you have a preview, just a topic that you want to go over? I know we didn't even get through like probably a quarter of what you wanted to go through, but what's the next
No, I think.
tease?
Well, I definitely covered what I think I wanted to get through today as like the minimum. The next episode, if I put another one of these together, is going to focus on the creation of or more so the revolution into the creation of our country. And I'll catch everybody up on how the Illuminati kind of infected its way there and show that, people back then were talking about it as a real thing, a real force in the world to be concerned about. And then we'll, from there, transition probably into the Civil War and beyond. But I'm going to catch everybody up into modern times, and then we can start getting into really, really crazy conspiracies that popped up.
Hell yeah.
That's a good
We got to
shit.
get the basis first.
If I stop interrupting with my bullshit.
Kind of dope.
No, it's good. It's good.
Hey, it was fine with me.
Cool.
But yeah, I love history, and I think if we put it in a certain lens of what if a octopus-like organization were to reach its arms everywhere and and try and take over the influence of society, how let's apply that as it really did happen and look through history as examples of it.
And that's why and I also like history, and that's why I'm $80,000 in debt because of it.
That's the best history. That's the best history.
I have my piece of paper, my useless garbage
If-
piece of paper.
If we're aware of the past, then we're more prepared to face the future. And if I can elevate everyone's awareness, then we're going to be a force to reckon with. And I look forward to going on this hero's journey with everyone.
How exactly do I face the bullet entering my brain in the future?
You face it with pride and a hard erection.
I am going to shame all the people that are standing there trying to shoot me and listening to the guy telling them to shoot me.
Okay.
That's good. I like that. I like that a
Yeah.
lot. I'm just gonna smile creepily at them.
Hopefully, I'm like a clone and they all shoot around me.
You're gonna use your shadow jutsu?
No, Kagebushin. You gotta use that.
Kagebushin?
Yeah, always use a
Oh, Lord.
Kagebushin. Oh, you got to do it. But yes, I agree with both of you, and I have my own retarded and psycho reasons for doing the things I do, and I think we actually are gonna end up helping some people. I mean, I'm hoping a lot. I'm hoping it ends up being a lot. But
Yes,
I
yes,
do
I
have
hope so.
some hope.
It's gonna
Otherwise, I
be
wouldn't be doing it.
all people.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be going broke trying to do this. So, thank you, Illuminated
Don't
Ape.
underestimate yourself because we're talking new ideas in a world of bad ideas. That's powerful.
And nobody likes them because nobody's giving anyone money.
They will.
Good ideas.
They
They don't want the
will.
good ideas. They want all bad ideas. All right.
You
Then.
remember those ideas that never worked and still don't work? Yeah, let's keep doing those. fucking guys.
What a
But
bunch of chumps.
I do have hope. I do have some hope. So I will continue to promote all this shit that we're talking about, that you guys are talking about. Illuminated Ape, thank you for your time. Thank you for the research you did. Thank you, Angst, for coming on by.
Nice.
And we will probably either a week or two for the next one. I want to make sure Illuminated Ape has enough time to gather his thoughts and the diagrams that he's drawing out. Get work on those triangles a little more.
You have hope. I have cope.
Hope,
You
hope, and
have hope. I
I'm
have
so
hope.
disparaged by the triangle that I can't draw it anymore.
It was okay. It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Trash ass triangle.
it counted. It counted.
Pythagoras would be pissed at me.
I think
But-
there was somebody named that in the Illuminati too. Shit.
That's beautiful,
Well,
but
there's a cult of Pythagoras. We'll get into that sometime if people are curious. I'd love talking about the cult of Pythagoras and why we teach him in math class still today.
Hell yeah.
There's a lot of occult stuff there. If people are interested, good looking up.
we'll definitely have to get into that. But thank you to everyone that showed up. We have 8 people watching. Smash the likes, like all the fucking YouTubers say to
Smash the
do.
like. Mr.
Smash the
Beast.
likes, guy. Mr. Beast, $10,000 giveaway. Fucking for smashing the like. Fucking Mr. Beast.
10,000 fucking was it 10,000 what was it called? BitConnect?
Oh, BitConnect, yeah, get 10,000 BitConnect coins right now, guys. When you smash up the like, you can get it. But thank you guys for joining. Share this video, you fucks. All right, cross post on Reddit. Join our Twitter, the SDC Twitter. It's on. My God, it's on the front page. There's a big banner there. Join our Discord if you haven't.
Lazy fucks and just join it and do the fucking contest. Like,
Yeah,
what the
it's
fuck's the deal? You guys were fucking offering like free shit. Join the goddamn contest. It's not that fucking hard. You lazy fucks.
I am also baffled by the lack of contest
What? Free
participation.
shit? Oh, I don't want that. It looks like a dick. It's fucking silver. Fucking Christ.
It always baffles me. It always baffles me.
I'll accept fucking a fucking silver butt plug. If it's made out of silver, I'd be like, okay, sure, man. And even if you insisted on fucking transferring it into my fucking ass in order to win the prize, I don't give a shit.
That will be a qualifier for the next butt plug prize.
People keister shit
If
in
it
the prison
gets
all the
us more
time.
viewers,
We will do it. Yes, you're right, Illuminated.
we will all wear the butt plug.
Yeah, only IA will be showing it on video though.
I want live insertion, 100%. But
we're gonna start an OnlyFans where we have like those like what's it, Bluetooth vibrator controllers.
We're just going to chatterbait,
We're gonna give silver away. Give silver away.
Every time I come, you get more silver. We're giving away a 10-ounce bar, guys.
That's
every
so
time.
Gross. All right, later,
but
dude.
yes, thank you everyone for dropping on by.
An idea.
Oh no, wait.
we need to
have fun, IA.
We need to get some colloidal silver sponsorships so that we can claim that the semen has silver.
Oh, that's right. that would cleanse against any types of foreign things
course.
people may have taken in the
Oh, we
past
better
2
stop
years.
talking about fun, silly things. Somebody's gonna get upset out there on the internet. You fucking prudes.
No, trust me. Millennials don't talk like this at all.
Yeah, you fucking boomers, get over that shit. I'm 38. If you're fucking 38, if you're younger than 30 years old and you're bitching about dicks and pussies being said on the fucking internet while the world is collapsing, go eat a fucking dick, you fucking bitch. Anyway.
Oh yes. I agree.
Priorities.
Everyone, please. All those links I said, do that. Subscribe to Angst as well, and do all that shit. Do all the shit, and give us all the fake monies with Patreon or whatever you want to do, or sponsor us. Thank you guys for dropping on by, and see ya fucks later.